Hey guys, welcome back. So last time we got our CSS file set up and linked to our index.php page. Now we're actually going to start styling this for real. So we're going to keep this code. This is good. We want to keep this. But underneath that, we're going to make a start. So the first thing we're going to do is get rid of this little spacing around the whole page. Because at the moment, it's quite hard to tell because it's a white background, but there's a gap, a margin around this whole page. So it's real simple. What we're going to do is say HTML and then put a comma, and then underneath that just put body, and this is saying apply this style to the HTML tag and the body tag, and inside there we're going to put margin 0 like this. And then if I refresh the page now, after saving the file of course, you should see the gap go away. So that's good, we've done what we wanted to do. And the very last thing to put in here is underneath margin, we're going to say height is going to be 100%. We always want the body to take up 100% of the available height of the page. Great, so if you refresh the page now, you won't see any change after doing that, but just know this is the right thing we want to do. Okay, so what's next? Going back to index.php, we're going to take a look at our structure right now, and we see we have these tags, and I'm going to get rid of this text as well. I just put that on there so you can see the style change. So get rid of that text if you copied it out. But what we're going to do is put all of this code here, all right, all of this code inside its own div. So it's real simple. Just create a new div. So div, there's my opening div tag, and underneath here, right above the body part, we're going to put a closing div. So put your slash in there for the closing div. Okay, and I'm going to move this across with tab, and then highlight all of this as well, and then press tab, and it should move it across. So what I've just done is just create a new div. So just below the body, opening div, and just above the closing body tag, we have a closing div tag. All right, and then inside this div right here, we're going to give it a class equals wrapper like this, and then we're going to get another class of index page. So this is going to be our wrapper, which is kind of like the name suggests, the element that wraps around the whole page. So all of the page is going to be inside this content here, and the index page class is going to be for some reason later on in the course, which I'll show you. But just for now, put that in there and just know that this is going to help us later on in the course, but don't worry about this for now. So this div here has two classes, wrapper and then index page. So let's go ahead and style this wrapper div right now. What we're going to do is in style.css, we're going to say dot wrapper like this. So this is saying target the element with the class wrapper. That's what dot means. Dot is just class. Okay. So any code we put in here will be applied to the wrapper div. If I save this and refresh the page, even though we've got no code in there, if I right click and press inspect, it works best if you're using Google Chrome for this. It opens up the developer tools. I'm going to resize this a little bit and then make this one slightly larger so you can see. I'll make this a bit bigger too. You'll see that we have the structure of our whole page. This developer tool section is going to be really valuable to us all the way through the course. So you'll see in the elements tab, we have the structure of our page. It reflects this index.php page. Okay, it's exactly what we have here. And you see all the same divs and the same elements. But the reason we're going to use this is because we can add style to it here and see the changes as we type. So rather than adding it here and refreshing to see our changes, we can just type it here and we can see it exactly. So if I click on the wrapper div right here, this one with class wrapper right there, click on that, you'll see we have this opening wrapper part right here. And what this is, it's coming from this style.css page, this right here, okay? So that's why we have this here. And inside of there, we're gonna add our style for this tag, okay? And this will allow us to see it as we type. And then when we're done, we're just gonna copy it from here and paste it into there. So we're only gonna add 3 lines of style in here. We're gonna say display flex, and what flex is, it's flexible display. And for those who don't know what flexible display is, there's a real good page you can see. If you type in flex CSS into Google and click on this first link from CSS Tricks, you'll see it's got a really good explanation about what flex is. I'm not going to go over all of it because it would take a long time, and I'm assuming you know a bit about how to style web pages, but I will try and explain things as I go along, to a basic level that you can understand what we're doing. But as usual, any questions at all, just let me know. But yeah, I do highly recommend maybe reading through this, or even what I did to learn Flex was just to watch a YouTube video. I think I watched like one YouTube video and it really cleared Flex up for me. So that's going to be really valuable to you. If you want to go away and watch a YouTube video on a Flex tutorial, just a 5-minute video, it'll really help you. But anyway, so we're saying this wrapper element has display flex. So it's using flexible layout, and what that is, it just basically means it's going to try and use all the available space it has. Okay, so so by default it flexes across horizontally, and if I click on there, I can add a new bit of style. I'm going to say flex direction is going to be column like this, And you won't see any changes yet. This looks exactly the same, but just know this is good. And then finally, just say min height is going to be 100%, like this. And if I hover over this wrapper now, you'll see it takes up the whole page. The blue highlighted section is the whole height of the div. And if I just if I uncheck this min height right now, so it takes this style off it, you'll see that the blue highlight only goes, as far as it needs, just to the bottom of the text box. But if I check that again, it's saying apply this, and you can see it uses up the whole available height. So this is good. That's all we need for that one. Copy all of those three, and then just paste them in your CSS file, because it's worth noting that any changes you do here obviously do not get saved to your file. So if you were to refresh the page before copying them to your file, you would lose this, okay? So make sure you do remember to copy the changes and paste them in there. If you don't want to use this inspector tools, you can of course just type them in here and refresh the page. That's fine too. So if I refresh this page now, we should still have this style applied, which we do. I've refreshed the page and this style that we wrote before is still there. And if I click on this style.css link, you can see it shows us this, the file we have here, and it's exactly the same. You can see it's got the same spacing and everything. So we can actually type our code here and see the changes. Right? This is kind of a copy of our file, exactly the same as this one. So underneath there in style.css, we're going to say dot wrapper, okay, and then also dot index page, like this. So this is saying target the element with the class wrapper that also has the class index page. Make sure there's no space between there. Make sure it's right up against it. There's no space. All right. This is saying apply to the element which has both of these classes, because on index.php, remember we added two classes to this one. And the reason we're doing this is because we don't want this code to be applied on any other pages which we use wrapper. This is just on the index page only. And it's just one line of code. Just say justify dash content and then center, like that. So justify content center, and you'll see it's put this part in the center. So just by doing that bit of code, we have moved this kind of central in terms of height. And if I resize this, you'll see it grows and it stays in the center all the time. Great. So underneath that, we're going to do another bit of style. I'm going to say main section. And then inside the main section, which is this div right here, so underneath the wrapper we have this main section div, we're just going to say display flex again. So we're using the flexible styling, just like we did up here, display flex. And then again, we want to say flex direction is going to be column, exactly the same as we did up here. And the very last thing is going to be align dash items, and then it's going to be center, like this. And you see we have it in the center like that. So just by doing that, we have this in the center. And what we want to do now is, remember, like I said, we want to make sure we copy all of this and paste it in there. So you can either paste the new changes we've done, or you can copy the whole file using Control A and then press Command C, and then go back to style.css and just paste it all in there. But if you'd rather just copy only the changes we've done here, that's fine too. Because like I said, if you refresh the page, your changes will go away. And if I refresh the page now, you should still see it. And you can see it's in the center, both horizontally and vertically. So already it's starting to look more like the Google homepage. So just a real quick overview on what this is actually doing. Display flex, like I said, it's saying use a flexible display, which means it uses all the available space that it has. And then the flex direction is column, because like I said, by default, it flexes in rows, which means it goes across this way, like horizontally. But we've said flex vertically. That's what flex column does. And then finally, align items just means, in this case, because we said column, we're saying all of the items in the column, we want to align them in the center. So imagine this whole page right here is the column, and we've said align any items in the center right here. And then one last thing I didn't explain is justify content center, just means that put your content in the center height-wise. So these two do very similar things. Align items just means all the items in a row like this, and then justify content means kind of just put it in the center in terms of height. So by doing that, we get this cool little centralized divs right here.